Here is my list. Told you I was going to explain the starlet in a bit more detail to you guys, because I feel like I've just skipped over it, and a few people say I'm butchering the car, which yeah, I pretty much am, but there's method to my madness, and I want you to understand my thought processes. The shell, it's a 1979 KP62 Starlet, the bug eye version. So the shell, I've not really done nothing drastic to the shell apart from I've got to modify it to fit the new running gear, which is just a given in these sort of projects. But other than that, I'm trying to stick to as much standard shell as possible. So far I've done tubs, made my own front cross brace, I've done rear tubs, obviously modified it to suit my new running gear down here. I've done a gearbox tunnel, done this ages ago when I had an SR20 in it before I purchased a house. This is dubbed a coffin. I might have to extend this all down and do diff tunnel and re-floor this bit. It's got a cage I got made ages ago before I could weld or anything like that. So it's got a full sort of 6-point bolting cage with a rear cross and harness bar. So I'm either going to reuse some of the cage or I'm going to use it for like templates and make my own. The rear end, I'd sunk a alley tank in the boot, which sat flush in here, but that's all going to go because of the diffuser needs that space, and I'll build a new alley tank, which I want to do from scratch. I've got here fiberglass boot, bonnet and doors, so I've got a single skin fiberglass boot to go on. It weighs about 2 kilograms, not even that. I've got a fiberglass, there's the boot, fiberglass bonnet, and I've got a set of Stiggy's fiberglass doors to go on, and that saves a lot of weight. It's just sort of standard classic car, putting different engines in, sort of modifications. Obviously got to tub out the rear a bit more for the arches. And we'll speak about the aero in a bit. Next is my running gear that I'm using. So I chose E36 compact running gear because it's cheap and it works. I really enjoy how my compact drives and feels. So I'm a bit of a cheapskate, no hiding that. I don't see the point in overspending on stuff that you don't need to. And when it was running before with all the Escort running gear, it was a bit tired and I wanted to update it, so I started pricing up a new blank Rally Design crossmember, a new set of polybush to lower arms, a set of a drop link anti-roll bar, compression struts, kit. I was kind of up to about 600 quid just for a blank front end again. And then I started on the rear end, and I built a Capri Atlas axle casing, made a jig off of my other axle, put all the new mounts on, put it in the car, cut a set of shafts down just to bolt wheels on to get it rolling. And then I spoke to a friend and I was looking for about 1,500 quid for 3J shafts and a diff. And I was thinking, my Pinto needed refreshing, and that was going to be about a £3 bill to get it back to about 180 brake. My running gear was a bit tired. I could have stripped it, repowder coated it and done some bits, but I couldn't be bothered. And so I started thinking then, I'm thinking, why put a Pinto in when I could have an SR20 for 1,200 quid with another 100 horsepower for nothing but a fuel pump and turning the boost up a bit. So that's why it's got this tunnel in, because that had an SR20 all mounted in. And then I was just going to go buy some shortened standard shafts and welded diff, because that probably would have took the power. But that was just a temporary fix. So yeah, as soon as I put that in, and I sort of bought a house. So So I sold everything and just kept the shell. So my plan is now, I bought all of this stuff pretty much, apart from the polybush kit. I've already got the coilovers. I've got a whole rolling car off eBay for 198 quid, which is my red one, because I just built a blue compact with all my 328 stuff. But I went and picked up this red one. I sort of bought it blind, and it was mint condition. So I used the shell for my fun car, and I took the running gear off the blue one, which is all the stuff under there. So that is, so yeah, so I've got front cross member, front lower legs, steering rack, anti-roll bar, rear beam, rear trailing arms, rear brakes, rear diff, rear anti-roll bar, all for 198 quid. So a fraction of the cost of the Ford stuff, and it works really well, and it's cheap, and it's all readily available off the shelf. So that's why I went for it. Nothing crazy. I'm a bit tight. Parts are easily available off the shelf. I can make things adjustable on the rear beam to give me rear camber, and the front end's a standard decent McPherson setup, which is what I wanted. Also gives me matching PCDs front and rear, because that annoys me if it's not like that. I was thinking of going MX5 rear, Escort front, and I decided against it. To add to this, I'm going to polybush it throughout. I've got the HSDs on my red compact that I'm going to buy some decent eBay coilovers for and keep these for this. I've got to find a 354-ish diff for the RX-8 6-speed box I'm going to use to give me the right ratios. And then a lovely friend of mine has given me a set of 328i calipers and discs, so they're big vented front brakes. Okay, engine, BZ6E, or B6ZE, can't remember. It's a Mark 1 Unos engine out of a Jap MX5. It's got to be a 1.6, I don't want a 1.8. And it's got to be the Unos one because they've got a long nose crank. And I've read about turbo in them, and it shears the crank pulley off. So yeah, full standard engine I'm going to run. 1.6. T25 or a TD04 turbo. I'm going to build my own stainless log manifold as short as possible. Heat wrapped. Keep as much heat in, get that spooling up quick. And then, yeah, mated to an RX-8 box. So, 200, 250 quid engine. Once I've made that, I've got it. 100 quid, 80 quid, depends which one I use. £150 gearboxes. Obviously I make my own intercooler pipe in, and then I don't know what ECU I'm going to use yet. I'll see what everyone recommends, but it's going to be a standalone, because I want to do some wiring. I want to make the whole engine quite modular, so I'm going to have a top mount turbo that I can get to the 3 bolts of this or the 4 bolts of that. So if a turbo blows on a track day, I'll have a spare turbo made, clocked, ready to go. I run no water lines. I've never run water lines on turbos, don't see the point in them. But I'm going to try and find some hydraulic couplers, so the oil feed line is quick release. So then, yeah, if it blows on a track day, I can swap it within like 20 minutes once it cools down. Same with the ECU, I'm going to grab a couple of those big BMW plugs, the 36 pinners or whatever they are, and then wire everything through those 2 plugs. And then when I want to take the engine out, it'll be like 2 rad hoses, a downpipe, an intercooler pipe. I'm going to have all the alternator wiring on like a quick release to the battery, and then you can just do the 2 big 32 pin plugs and flop the wiring loom over the engine and take it out quick, like proper built with a bit of forward thinking, so if anything breaks it's easy to get to and you can get spanners and everything. So the reason for that is a standard engine mapped at a bar 220 brake-ish. 220 brake in an 800 kilogram car is pretty fun. And then when I'm hanging that off the limiter all day at a drift day or a track day and it blows up, I'll have a spare 200 pound engine in the shed. Take me a day to swap. I plug it all back in and it should all run again basically. So I've kind of got engines, boxes and turbos that I don't care about. So imagine building your 10 grand fully forged, you know, 2.2 stroker SR whatever, only to get some oil surge and it just blows up. When that blows up, which it probably won't anyway, I'll laugh and put another one in and do it all again the next week. So yeah, that's the engine. Aero. So this is what's going to make my car a real love it or hate it vehicle. Now, I've very much been an OEM plus kind of guy. So just standard body, roll the arches to fit some nice wheels, maybe a front lip and then leave it. But I'm kind of going full time attack because this is just going to be an out and out track car more than anything. I want it to go fast on a track and actually work on a track properly. So I'm going to go for big arches, Mark II Escort alley arches and a front chin lip splitter. So the big forest arches that come above the swage line come out because the track on the BMW is obviously wider than starlet, so I'm going to need arches anyway. So I want the nice aluminium ones so I can cut and weld and do bits to them. Front ones with the front chin splitter that they join together. And from that I'm going to have a big plywood diffuser with all the rods and stuff, connected to the front chin properly like an air dam. And then the wings, I'm tempted to split, pull the wing out and then back in, so then I've got the airflow through the wheel well can come out properly. The D-Max bonnet vent that goes that way, the big one, because I might have to notch the engine into the fins of it anyway, and obviously airflow and out of the engine bay. Skirts, I want little rubber skirts that sit as close to the ground as possible. I might sit them right in so they're not too noticeable. Obviously that funnels the air all underneath. The back end, I'm going to cut the whole back end out. Massive alley diffuser with all the fins. And everything underneath connected with a flat alley floor. So try and have one single sheet that connects the front diffusery bit all the way down. So proper flat floor. With a hovercraft side skirt, so all the air will go under the car properly and out the diffuser. The air in the engine will come out the D-Max bonnet vent. The air in the wheel wells will come out properly. And then I'm going to have a big wing up here, like a National Hot Rod big alley wing with the huge end plates sitting here. And I'm going to want to build them all on like a big adjustable rods with rose joints and stuff. And then some big 15 by 9 wheels, some nice square profile track tyres on. So it's going to be a cross between the time attack car, National Hot Rod arches and stuff like that. Obviously a bit of working out of angles of things and all that, but yeah, so I've been watching a few videos on aero for the time attack people, and one team reckon they shaved 3 seconds off their time in their NSX with simple, well thought out aero. I think they spent $200 on some sheets of alley. They made a front air dam, a splitter, and a diffuser and a wing. So yeah, so I want to get this crazy looking. Colours, I don't know what I'm going to do yet either. So probably black. I want to go get that truck liner bed crackly finish paint. Black inside, black bay, black arches, black underneath. And then I'll probably wrap the car some crazy colour, and I might do a full livery down the side. Obviously Perspex windows everywhere, more cage, alley Kirky bucket seats like Kyle's. Wheels I'm undecided, but yeah, 15x9s, nice bit of dish. Yeah, so now you know my thought process. So the whole thought process is I want to be out on track, not worrying about my engine, not worrying about my gearbox blowing up or anything like that, because they're cheap and I know I can replace them. Obviously the shell's kind of poured so much into the shell that's not really replaceable, but there's nothing I can do about that. Again, the running gear, I'm not worried about diffs, suspension arms, joints, everything, because it's cheap. I'm going to Euro car parts and buy them off the shelf. So yeah, so when I'm flying around brands with £200 worth of running gear, some standard coilovers I bought off the shelf, a standard 1.6 engine on a standard TD04, a bit of thought out aero, so I've got a bit more grip, and I'm lapping some M3s around brands, then my mission is complete. Just want to prove that a bit of thinking and a bit of lateralness, not the right word, cutting and welding, adapting some bits and bobs off different cars, and you can make a good car. So that's the plan. To prove that you don't need to have Formula One budgets, just think about what you're doing a bit, don't be scared to attack it and try an idea, and see how it goes.